This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane? This is a sham.
No.
Nope. Y'all, just stop.
Finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Al, Tori, and Erica, and today we're going to look back at some of our favorite celebrity stories, like the time when Beyonce admitted she can't always do it all and needs to take some time for herself. Well, Erica, for one, was relieved. Take a look. What do you think, Erica? I know.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God you released us all, because I used to have this mug that said, if Beyonce has 24 hours, let me make sure that I use my 24 hours. And I just felt like I was never measuring up, and to find out that she's actually human is such a relief. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Beyonce, we needed this. We all did.
We did.
Because we have this boss girl mentality, and you know, the idea is like you keep going, like look at what these people are able to do, and it's an impossible standard to reach or maintain at that. And I think a lot of people are running themselves raggedy and really sacrificing their mental health with the hope that they can create this major empire. And what she's saying, and is illustrated so beautifully basically in the past decade, is you need to compartmentalize your life and be on for the sections of your life when you can and are willing to be on. And I think that's very freeing. I think a lot of people need to hear that message. Did you ever think you were going to hear that from Beyonce?
I didn't. I was so excited. Also, I just have to drop a little something.
Yes.
Because Miss Tina, Beyonce's mother, reposted me. I was giving Kelly Rowland her flowers. I posted it on my little Instagram, and lo and behold, Miss Tina reposted it. So thank you, Miss Tina.
How did you not send out a text in real time? Yeah. I would have been, that's amazing.
That's huge. That's huge.
You know, I was too busy trying to do it all, so I waited until this moment.
Beyonce follows Miss Tina, so you know Beyonce saw Erica.
Basically, they're best friends.
Yes.
They're best friends.
All of a sudden, I just want to say, and I told Miss Tina, I adore and fangirl all of Destiny's children.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
She don't pick favorites. Okay, so who could forget the one time Erica got tongue-tied? That's hard to believe, right? During our interview with Alfonso Ribeiro. It's a moment we need to savor again. Take a look.
Well, let's talk about that juice and three-dimensionality.
Yes.
Lord have mercy.
Yes.
Sorry.
I don't think anybody's ever said that word.
I'll just make that up and stumble all over it. My bad. Because you guys really had the opportunity to tackle some issues that we're still speaking about this day. And you know, in his shocking new memoir, Mill Swift, Lord have mercy.
Is he getting you tongue-tied?
You know what? Honestly, Alfonso, I'm going to be very honest.
She feel a little something. You feel a little something, girl? You feel something.
Alfonso, I'm not going to lie. I am not going to lie. I am getting tongue-tied. You were like one of my crushes growing up, and I swear to you.
It comes out.
I swear to you. This happens to me.
I can tell she was feeling a little something. I knew.
Oh my gosh.
Wait a second, Alfonso, Erica never gets tongue-tied.
She's never done it.
So I'm just going to savor this moment, because I always get tongue-tied, Erica.
I love it.
Oh my God.
Gotcha.
I'm so sorry.
And I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
This also happened to me when I met Zach Morris. So,
Okay. All right. No different. No different.
So we're going to go ahead and get Erica.
Erica, you want to say goodbye?
yeah.
Put on some Sade and give her a dark room.
Oh, my goodness.
DBL Nation.
Bye, girl.
And then Erica, show them what happened.
Yes. So our boss, Bert, reached out, and Alfonso sent me this autograph.
What's it say?
It says, Erica, thank you for all the love. You know I could tell.
Oh, he did not mince words.
Yes.
And that hangs here in the studio.
Yes,
So, yeah.
So thank you, Alfonso. I need to be reminded of that at all times.
So you had a crush on Carlton.
Yes.
That's so, like, rare? Did people have crushes on him?
Why?
Because I thought he was a little nerdy, as opposed to Will Smith's character was like the cool one.
It was right.
You liked
but
him.
You guys haven't noticed that I love nerds.
So we like that.
Like,
She's just pointing out the obvious.
Nerds is so underrated.
Yeah,
I love a hot nerd. Oh my
honey.
gosh.
I can
Yes.
tell. Yeah.
Honey.
Coming up on DBL, you know him from shows like Arrested Development and Veep. Tony Hale stopped by DBL to tell us about playing a villain on the big screen.
A big announcement from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The agency authorized 2 updated boosters, one from Pfizer and one from Moderna, which will specifically target the latest strain of COVID-19. So let's verify what makes these boosters different from the old versions. Our sources are 2 FDA administrators, Commissioner Dr. Robert Califf and Dr. Peter Marks, as well as infectious disease doctor Dr. Amish Adalja and Dr. William Schaffner. The big difference is that these boosters are what's called bivalent vaccines.
What it means is that they actually target 2 things. Part of the vaccines are going to target the original ancestral strain. The other aspect of the new boosters is going to be that they also target the Omicron variant.
This is very similar to what we do with our influenza vaccine, which has 4 components, and we update that each year.
Our experts tell us authorization was granted even without wide-scale human trials, but our FDA experts say, nonetheless, they know it's safe because of the millions who have received a similar mRNA vaccine already. And they're confident it will be more effective based on both animal trials and some small studies in people for similar bivalent vaccines.
They've shown that they produce very good immune responses in humans, and they were safe, granted in a small number of individuals relatively, but in aggregate now, in enough people to feel comfortable.
I'm turning 71 next month. I will be at the front of the line at the pharmacy.
If given final approval by the CDC, the Moderna booster will be available for people 18 and older, and the Pfizer booster would be for people 12 years and up. Now, people are eligible for these boosters 2 months after completing their initial vaccination or last booster shot. A CDC advisory committee will be debating this evidence on Thursday and is expected to vote this week. With your Verify, I'm Lorenzo Hall.
Are you skeptical of headlines and what you see on social media? We are too. The Verify newsletter helps you distinguish between true and false information by answering your questions. It provides fast facts on trending topics, spotlights major stories, and even includes a daily fun fact for all those trivia buffs out there. Get Verify's fast facts delivered every weekday to your email inbox. Go to verifythis.com/email to check it out.
You know him from his comedic roles in Arrested Development and Veep, which I just finished. It's amazing, obviously. I'm many years late. Now Tony Hale is embracing his inner villain in Clifford. We spoke to Tony, who couldn't help but chime in on our earlier conversation about cancel culture in Hollywood. Take a look. He's the man who can make you laugh with just a look. From his role on Veep to Arrested Development, please welcome to the show, Tony Hale.
Man, you guys are on fire. I was listening to you before. It was very exciting listening to you guys.
Oh, clip it. Yeah. We'll be using that for our show's reel. Thank you so much, Tony Hale.
Great actor.
So you are a very busy man. Before we get into Clifford, let's talk about another film you are starring in, Hocus Pocus 2. And earlier this week, Sarah Jessica Parker released a teaser for the film. Let's take a look.
What a teaser. I know.
So you're going with the correct spelling. Is all we got, really.
Okay, but we have Tony Hale here. So, Tony, you got to give us some insider knowledge. What can you tell us about the film and the Sanderson sisters revival, even if it's just a little tidbit? Come on.
Oh, please. I go to work. I'm doing it in New York now, and then I go back to shooting up. We're shooting in Rhode Island. That's all I can. But it's I don't really know. They won't let me say anything, but it's a classic, so it's kind of cool to be. And actually, it was cool to work with Kathy Najimy because she was on Veep. If you watch the show, she was Mike McClintock's wife. And so it'll be fun really seeing her again. And my first job in New York in the late 90s was Sex and the City. I had a bit part. I was Tiger.
Oh, wow.
So
that's so cool.
Okay, sorry. Hey, brother. It's Tori here. I love you. I'm arrested. All right. So,
oh, I love that.
Thank you. Next month, Being the Ricardos hits theaters, and you also were in that. You worked alongside Nicole Kidman as she played Lucille Ball. But I always said out loud on the show, Nicole wasn't known for her comedic, or isn't known for her comedic timing. So, like, how did she do for you?
I mean, I gotta say, the whole thing was very strong. I grew up on I Love Lucy.
Right.
You guys are all much younger than I am, but I grew up on that show, and this is a drama about the making of I Love Lucy, because there was a lot of chaos in Lucille Ball's life, like with Desi and the politics and being a woman at the time, in charge, a very strong leader, and trying to get her respect leading the show. And so there was a lot happening behind the scenes. So that's what Aaron Sorkin wanted to focus on. And I'm telling you guys, when I was doing it, watching her do Lucille and Javier Bardem do Desi, I'm just like, which one of these is not like the other? I am not supposed to be here. I don't know why they invited me to the party. Like, it was pretty crazy.
And Sorkin, can you imagine? What a...
I can't wait.
Oh, God.
I know. And like, you told our producer that you haven't seen the movie yet. And full disclosure, you were talking to our producer at my house yesterday because we were doing a shoot there. And when she got off the phone, she was just so ecstatic. She was like, Tony's the greatest guy ever. And I was like, that's how I want people to be when they get off the phone with me.
Yeah.
So that it's just, you're a great guy. And we're happy to have you.
People don't say that about you,
nice.
Al.
I just ask people to keep their expectations low.
Tony, did you hear my co-host dressed up like a zebra today in honor of your movie?
A zebra?
Yeah, you look like yes, it's a zebra.
Okay, I'm sure Tony Hale loves my dress. Thank you very much.
Does she not look like a zebra, Tony?
A beautiful, a stunning gazelle.
All right, let's get back to business.
Yes.
Tony, you play the bad guy in Clifford, and you also play a bad guy in Alvin and the Chipmunks. I know you as Buster. I know you as Gary. I laugh at you. My kids are going to be scared of you, Gary. Why do you take these evil roles? Or Gary.
Yes! Mission accomplished. I tell you, I guess maybe it is because of Buster and Gary. I mean, I was just playing those defeated, emasculated characters. I think I needed something else just to like get some kind of power, even though it's evil power. But it was really, it's such a fun movie, and I play a guy who's trying to get Clifford's power just to like for profit. So I'm not a nice guy. But it was really fun.
Bad guy.
How can you try and profit off Clifford, Tony?
Why wouldn't you? It's a huge red dog.
know.
Why don't you make some money?
I know.
Hey, Tony.
Do you know what though?
Yes.
You were when you guys were talking earlier about just everything in society. There's something in this movie that, because I grew up on Clifford, and there's this scene in the movie where Emily Elizabeth is holding a baby Clifford, and it's her love that makes Clifford grow, and that's kind of a part of how he got to be where he is. And it's like today, you know, you guys were talking about cancel culture and like online, people ripping people apart and judgment. That's not going to bring growth. You know, that's not going to bring change. It's love and support and empathy and giving people the road to redemption. That's what's going to bring growth.
Well
honestly.
said.
I thought I couldn't love you anymore.
I know, Tony, you're always welcome at this table.
Well,
You've got quite the opinion.
No, I love
Come
it.
join us.
Yes,
Yeah.
Sam will dress up like your favorite animal. Come on.
I'll join up as Clifford. I'll do whatever he wants. Clifford is in theaters. Stop it right now. Tony, thank you so much for joining us today. You are a real treat.
Oh, you guys are great.
Thank you. What a
Thank you
pleasure.
for having me.
We'll be waiting for you.
President Biden just announced a plan to cancel up to $20,000 in student debt for some people. When critics attacked the plan, the White House responded on Twitter by pointing out some of those critics had gotten even larger loans forgiven by the government. Those loans weren't student loans, they were Paycheck Protection Program loans. The PPP was created during the early stages of the pandemic to provide business owners with cash so they wouldn't have to lay off workers. According to the Treasury Department, as long as the loans were used to cover payroll, they could be, and often have been, forgiven. Recently, many people have claimed that the average forgiven PPP loan was much larger than the 10 to 20 grand in forgiveness that many students are now receiving. This tweet from Senator Bernie Sanders says the average amount of debt forgiveness to businesses was more than $95,000. So let's verify. Is the average amount forgiven for PPP loans greater than $20,000? Our sources, the Small Business Administration, the Department of Education, and the Pandemic Response Accountability Committee. That committee is a government agency tasked with tracking how pandemic relief funds get used. Out of a total 11.5 million PPP loans, more than 10 million were fully or partially forgiven. And the agency calculated that the average amount forgiven was $72,500. So where did Sanders get the 95,000 figure? Well, that was the average as of last year, when only about 4 million loans had been forgiven. Since then, millions of smaller loans have been processed, bringing the average down, according to the Small Business Administration. But when it comes to student loans, the max most people can get forgiven under Biden's plan is 20 grand. So even with the lower 72 grand figure for PPP loans, we can verify, yes, the average amount forgiven for PPP loans is greater than $20,000. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
Welcome back to DBL. The Killing Fields are an area in South Texas where many unidentified serial killers disposed of their victims. For Friendswood, a community near those fields, their horrors began with the disappearance of a 12-year-old girl. Here's the story of Laura Smither, the tiny dancer, in today's True Crime Chronicles.
Everyone who knew Laura loved Laura. Her love was immediately with ballet.
On a gray and drizzling morning in April 1997, Laura Smither decides to go for a jog.
She had just gotten into the Houston Ballet Academy, and hundreds and hundreds of girls audition every year. She got in. Laura had just finished reading a book that had inspired her to start running, so she asked permission to go out for this run, and she had never, ever done that. That was the very first time.
Laura waves goodbye to her parents and promises to be home in time for breakfast. But as the minutes turn to hours, breakfast becomes cold on their plates.
And that's my life sentence. I have to live with that every day, because I gave her permission to go out running, and she didn't come home.
Her parents call the police.
We knew right away that something wasn't right.
Authorities begin a frantic search for Laura, fearing she has been abducted. More than 6,000 volunteers begin searching over 800 square miles.
Laura Kate Smither is described as 5'3", weighing 98 pounds, with long, dark brown curly hair and braces. The search is by air, by foot, and even by horseback. It seems as if the whole town is taking part.
As the hours turn to days, the days become weeks. Police find no trace of Laura, but her parents refuse to let go of the hope that she will find her way home.
She's coming home, and if she's out there and she can hear us, Laura, you find a way to find us, and we will find you.
It's become a cliche that missing child is the worst nightmare, but it really is. When you have a child, you don't know where they are, and you have that momentary panic. I think every parent has at one point or time has experienced that and can relate to that. We'll take that experience and multiply it by 1,000.
Okay, about 3:45 today, we got a call from a man who was out here with his dog. He was out here training the dog for retrieval. He and his son, and the dog apparently found his body.
17 days after her abduction, Laura's remains are discovered.
It is the opinion of my department and its investigators and myself as its chief that the young woman found off Beltway 8 is Laura Kate Smither.
Investigators find little evidence, having been eroded by time and the elements, but they do determine that Laura was likely strangled. Little progress is made in Laura's case as investigators race to find the killer.
Quite a few months later, one of the reporters did an expose of all the missing girls. We had no idea that so many girls had gone missing in our area.
No one has a clue who could be responsible. They only know young women are vanishing. A serial killer is on the loose. However, when 19-year-old Sandra Sepaw is abducted at knife point, she astonishingly escapes. She identifies her abductor to police. William Reese, a part-time construction worker, is arrested for the kidnapping and rape of Sandra Sepaw. He becomes a person of interest in Laura's murder shortly after. Nonetheless, investigators fail to definitively connect Reese to any of the other murders in Friendswood, including Laura's, and her case goes cold.
William Reese was sentenced to 60 years in prison for the rape and abduction of Sandra Sepaw in 1998. 18 years later, he finally confessed to Laura's murder. He is currently on death row. Earlier, we invited Laura's mom to talk with us about her daughter. Here's what she had to say.
Gay, thank you so much for being here. Let's start with what's important, and that's Laura. How would you like us to remember Laura?
Just that she was an extraordinary human being whose life was cut short by someone who had so little to contribute, and he took somebody's life who Laura had so much to contribute to the world, and she's not here to give all the gifts that she had to give.
Well, you went to Oklahoma for the trial of William Reese. So what was that experience like for you?
Oh, it was brutal. Obviously, it reopened old wounds that, there's no such thing as closure. That's a made-up media word. There's no closure on love. So the best you get is a really thick scab. And for years you live with that scab and you're okay. And every now and then you knock the scab and you bleed. And that's what it was like. I was bleeding again.
I wanted to ask, you said you forgive Reese. How? How were you able to?
My journey to forgiveness was through the sacrament of reconciliation, which my church offers. It's known more commonly as confession. Forgiveness is really for me. I forgive Reese, but it took me out of the angst and the terrible cage that I was in. It doesn't mean I condone or will ever forget, but it allows me to live in a more normal state.
Can you just tell us a little bit about your husband and how he's dealing with it all?
Bob definitely went inside, and he does not have a faith to cling to like I do. My faith is what got me through. I don't know, to be honest, how he does it, but he always says he goes to the Church of Brazos Bend State Park. He loves that park, and he communes with nature, and he releases his pain in that way. But it's a longer journey for him.
Thank you so much for talking with us, for personalizing this, for humanizing Laura.
Absolutely.
Your family will be in our thoughts and prayers. And for everyone watching at home, if you want to hear more about Laura, we covered her story and many others on our True Crime Chronicles podcast, available on any podcast player. Thank you again, Gay. We are thinking of Laura. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This time it's monkeypox, the rare but rarely deadly disease with symptoms similar to smallpox. The CDC's statistics show it's very uncommon in children, but with schools back in session, parents and teachers are asking, is it possible for monkeypox to spread through school surfaces like desks and sleeping mats? Our sources are the CDC, a recent monkeypox surface study conducted by the Utah Health Department, and Chris Uhl, infectious diseases physician with Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist.
The most common way that monkeypox is transmitted is directly from person to person, and this involves skin-to-skin contact. A small number of cases could be transmitted by respiratory droplets. There are also sometimes people can get it from what we call in medicine fomites, which is the environment around us.
The CDC emphasizes the risk to children is low, though yes, again, it can spread through contaminated objects like toys, eating utensils, fabrics, and surfaces used by someone who has monkeypox. The Utah Health Department study took 30 specimens from a house with 2 people with monkeypox. Several items had traces of the virus, but none had a positive viral culture result, meaning the virus wasn't viable or infectious on those surfaces.
The surfaces that are most problematic are actually soft fabrics, so like bedding, towels, things that we would use somewhat intimately with skin-to-skin contact. Other surfaces, such as desks, doorknobs, telephones, are much less likely to become contaminated because the skin to direct contact would be quite unusual.
The CDC says the best disinfectants for monkeypox are the same ones you're using for COVID or any other emerging viral pathogen. EPA's pesticide product and label system search page allows you to see name brands and generics that perform best. At this point, the CDC is not recommending students stay out of school for monkeypox exposures, unless, of course, they have symptoms. At that point, the child's doctor and local health department should advise what to do and whether the vaccine might be an option. With your Verify, I'm Megan Maleris.
Verify viewers are always on the lookout for the next potential scam, and we love when you ask us about suspicious claims and requests, like Karen did. She received this letter that claims to be from the federal government that asks her to answer questions about her passport. So Karen, let's verify. Is this passport survey from the U.S. Department of State legit? Our sources are the State Department, the Office of Management and Budget, and the U.S. Government Accountability Office. The State Department is responsible for issuing passports to Americans. Every month, the agency mails a letter like this and the one received by Karen to 35,000 addresses nationwide, inviting them to take part in a survey about passport demand. The survey asks questions about whether anyone in the home has a passport or will need one in the next few years. The State Department says it then uses this data to know when it needs to hire more people, build more infrastructure, and add resources to issue passports. So, yes, this passport survey from the U.S. Department of State is legit. The department says it may also call people who don't respond to the letter.
Welcome back to DBL. We got some more viewer questions. This first one is for me. Leslie wants to know, with 2 young kids at home, how do you find time for yourself? That's a tough one, but I do have the benefit, and I know not everybody has this privilege of being in a household of 2 parents. So I'm lucky that if I do need time for myself, that I have my husband to pick up the slack or vice versa. So I'm grateful for that.
I'll just say you don't take a lot of time for yourself, though, unfortunately.
That's true.
You are like all in as a mom, so yeah.
And right, kids go through stages. Sometimes they're all about dad, or sometimes they're all about the other, parent. Right now, Sophie's both, but Miles is all about me right now. So yeah, it's all you. All me all the time.
For my mic. Oh, look at that. Now we're talking again. Hello. And we got 10 seconds to go.
Okay. DBL is new every day. We'll see you guys again. Same time, same place. Have a fantastic day, everybody.